Hi. So I do agree with the basic argument of this paper, which essentially is that people are unaware of the effect that the environmental stimuli has on their own thoughts and behaviors, and also may be unaware that the stimulus even existed in their environment and their subjective reality. I think one thing that I found to be particularly interesting was the anti-busing and the pro-busing experiment. So that was in which participants did not notice that learning an alternative viewpoint influenced their opinions, and that when they were tested to recall their original opinions, they reported agreeing with the new opinions more strongly than their original opinions. And that's interesting because I've actually experienced that in a way, in just in a class like a argumentative class where we had to choose an opposing side, and it got very heated in in the discussions, and people that I initially talked to before the project had been just very honed in on their own set of beliefs. However, when they actually got to the debate, they were just so angry and heated by all this new information that they found. And I guess another thing that was particularly interesting was it was the in-depth descriptions of the types of stimuli that were involved in learning without awareness. And those things were like contextual clues, verbal and nonverbal cues, like small changes, and how small changes in the environment can create like very large effects in learning and memory. And I think another one was the mechanical judgment. So like where something is placed, if it's placed in contrast with something that someone maybe likes or dislikes. One thing that I was a little bit confused on was the difference between position and anchoring effects in mechanical judgments. I know they describe position in one of the studies about socks. However, I'm confused about how anchoring would be any different because they did not necessarily go in depth. So that's the one thing that maybe could be improved on in this paper. And another thing that was interesting to me was that imagery precedes and facilitates problem solving. However, the process in which the problem is solved is a completely different, I guess, train of thinking. And I find this too when I was working with dyslexic students, and you notice that if you increase the dyslexic students' mental imagery, then their comprehension would essentially increase. However, I've never thought about imagery and problem solving, the actual processes of problem solving being, I guess, completely disconnected from each other. I always thought that they just co-occurred and they were kind of the same thing. So this leads me to think that there can be more research in separating the two processes and figuring out how they play into problem solving for students that are dyslexic or have dyscalculia or other learning disabilities.